Washington. Hey, Dave, you're a former intelligence officer. What do you think of this?
Yeah. Hey, Tom, I want to connect this topic with something you just talked to another caller about on critical thinking. Mm-hmm. And you specifically mentioned the Vietnam War and people, questioning the merits of that war, and Republicans, detested that. Well, here's the thing. These skiffs, we got to keep in mind, this is against the law. People are in prison for doing what those congressmen did, okay? And also... You
know of people who've gone to prison for walking into a skiff without authorization?
Yes, there's two things you must have by law. You must have the need to know and the appropriate clearance. If you don't, even if you have the appropriate clearance and you do not have the need to know, yeah, you're going to go to jail.
And then on top of that, you've got to leave your electronic devices outside the door.
Yeah, and most of that was your favorite President, Ronald Reagan. Most of that's executive order that's
really?
If you violate it, will end you up in jail.
Okay.
And the thing is and how this also relates to what's going on in Anbar in Iraq, okay, and in Syria. And the lack of critical thinking. U.S. soldiers are being put into Anbar, taken out of Syria and put into Anbar. Well, the people in Anbar, Iraq, are protesting. They don't want U.S. soldiers there. So how are we spinning that in the media? It's basically the Blue Lives Matter argument. Okay, that's what soldiers are over there right now. They're cops.
They're cops.
And of course, their lives matter. We give them guns. Okay, Of course, and that's where critical thinking comes in. You must see through this. Okay, Russia and Turkey have guns. We are withdrawing, we are retreating, we are surrendering to a superior force. That's the truth. Nobody wants to face it, but it is. And then we're surrendering and withdrawing to an area that is under, you can argue criminal occupation. That's what they're going to say in Iraq, anyways.
Well, they are already. I mean, the Iraqi government is saying that they want the U.S. soldiers out of Iraq now, and of course, the Iraqi government has aligned itself with Iran. So, the whole geopolitical thing has just been turned on its head. Iran and now Iraq, their client state, and Russia and Turkey are winning. And, not that this should be reduced to winners and losers. All of this, or much of this, I think was brought about by the, Dick Cheney and George W. Bush line us into a war in order for political purposes and for Cheney's oil buddies and to help out Halliburton. And I would make that same argument, by the way, about Afghanistan. But that doesn't mean that the way that you get out is by handing it over to Turkey and Russia.
No. What it means is we have to exercise critical thinking before it is too late. We do not back down to Russia and Turkey because it's fun. Okay, We back down because those blue lives matter. They don't want to die. Okay, Russia.
In other words, you're saying that we're. Now, you said earlier, Dave, that the Russians coming up from the south and the Turks coming down from the north were a superior force to the U.S. And yeah, we only had 2,000 soldiers there. Turkey has the second largest army in NATO. It's over 100,000 men. That's a big army. But we could marshal a superior army if we wanted to.
Well, see, this is where you have.
There's just no will for a war like that.
Well, you have the potential for World War III. I mean, And the bottom line is the Republicans are winning with this quid pro quo argument in the media. Okay, and here's the deal: there are also people in jail. David Petraeus got in trouble for a quid pro quo scenario. All right, look, Donald.
I thought he got in trouble for talking to his mistress, letting her listen in on a phone conversation. She got sex in exchange for that.
Yes, and she also had a security clearance. She just didn't have the need to know. And the quid pro quo was sex. Now, and what I'm saying here is this is where critical thinking comes in. Trump cannot be allowed to get by with this just because he's president. He's not above the law.
Well, he certainly thinks he is. I mean, he's come right out and said, Article 2 of the Constitution says I can do what I want, which it doesn't say, obviously. Yeah. And Bill Barr has told him this, hey, you can't be prosecuted. In fact, they're arguing in court today that he can't even be investigated.